Hi guys, welcome back. Up to this point we've talked about how the kidneys work as far as pulling the waste products out of your blood and making it into urine. But if you go back to the very beginning of this unit, we talked about how the kidneys have a whole bunch of other functions. Your kidneys also help maintain water balance. They help regulate your blood pressure. They help maintain a proper pH in your blood. And we haven't talked about those. So in this video, you're going to learn about all the other functions of your kidneys. So let's first talk about water. Your body has about 50% of your body is made up of water. Now females, we tend to have less water, about 50%, whereas men are about 60%. That's just because us girls, we have more fat. Babies, they tend to store much more water, about 75% of their body is water. And as we get older, we store less water in our bodies. So it says as we get older, about 45% of our body is water, and that's why they're at higher risk for dehydration. Okay? And this water that we store, about 2/3 of it is found within your cells. We say intracellularly, okay? And that means the remaining third is found extracellularly, meaning outside your cells. So that would be maybe between your cells, between the tissues. Some of that water is found in the plasma of your blood or in the cerebrospinal fluid. Whether you're talking about the water that's inside your cells or the water that's outside your cells, all of this water has electrolytes, has ions, sodium, potassium, chloride. All of these ions are found wherever water is found. Now, these ions play a huge role because as the ions shift, so does the water. So if there's extra sodium inside your cells, then all the water is going to rush inside your cells. If there's extra sodium outside your cells, all the water is going to shift outside your cells. What I'm getting at is that there's constantly this shifting going on at the amount of water that's in your body. And the shifting causes the amount of blood in your body to shift, the amount of blood that's going through the blood vessels. And if the amount of blood in your blood vessels shifts, then the blood pressure shifts, and then that impairs other cellular activities. So maintaining an exact amount of water in your body is really important. Now, where does all this water come from? Well, I think we all understand that the majority of the water comes from us drinking water, right? Or drinking sodas or tea or whatever you guys drink. There's also lots of water in the food you eat, in the salads and the meats and the vegetables and fruits that you eat. They too have water. Now we also produce a little bit of water through metabolic processes within inside you, but the majority of it comes externally. Now, how do we get rid of the water? Some water is lost through breathing out. There's water particles in the air that we breathe. We also sweat some of the water out. We also lose water through feces. And then, of course, the majority of the water is lost through urine. Okay, and here's a nice little depiction of just basically what I just talked about, where water comes in and where water goes out. So, how does our body know when there's a shift in the water balance, okay? How do we fix that, okay? Because we need to maintain an exact amount of water in our body. And so we're going to talk about how does your kidneys maintain this fine line, this perfect balance, okay? So there's two ways. First way we call the ADH way, okay? So go with me. Let's pretend that you didn't drink enough water today, okay? You didn't drink enough water, so the amount of water in your body starts to go down. Okay, so if the amount of water in your body starts to go down, the amount of blood that's through your blood vessels goes down. So if there's less blood in your blood vessels, there's less stuff in the tubes, then the blood pressure goes down. Okay, you with me? So if you don't drink enough water today, then ultimately your blood pressure can start going down. If your blood pressure goes down, then you don't get that nice filtration in the glomerulus. Remember, I was talking about that in class. You need a good high blood pressure to separate the bad stuff from the good stuff in your blood. Okay, so not enough blood pressure means nephrons are not going to work very well. The filtration process is not going to work very well. Okay, so if the nephrons are not working very well, then there's going to be a lot of extra stuff in your blood. There's going to be an unusual composition of stuff in your blood, which triggers your hypothalamus. Remember, your hypothalamus is found in your brain. Your hypothalamus is going to go, whoa, there's lots of extra stuff in my blood. So the hypothalamus tells the pituitary gland, and if you go back to Unit 9, that pituitary gland sits right there on the hypothalamus. They're right next to each other. The pituitary gland releases a hormone called antidiuretic hormone. We abbreviate it ADH, okay? And what ADH does is it goes and it travels through the bloodstream to the kidneys, and it acts on the collecting ducts, and it tells the collecting ducts to put more water back into the bloodstream. It tells the collecting ducts to reabsorb more water. More water in the bloodstream means more blood volume. More blood volume means higher blood pressure. Okay? And now we're back to normal. That's the first way our kidneys maintain a perfect water balance. Okay? The second way is what we call the Renin-Angiotensin way or mechanism, okay? So same thing. Today you forgot you didn't drink enough water. So not enough water means not enough blood volume. The blood volume goes down, so does the blood pressure, okay? Not enough blood pressure means that things are not filtering very well and there's extra stuff in your bloodstream. Okay. When that happens, another mechanism happens in which an enzyme called renin is released. It's produced by your kidneys and it's released into the bloodstream. And what renin does is it speeds up the production of a hormone called angiotensin. And what angiotensin does is it causes all your blood vessels to constrict. We call it vasoconstriction. And if you can think of all your blood vessels constricting, it brings that low blood pressure right back up to normal blood pressure, okay? So if you didn't drink enough water today and your blood pressure starts to go down, we have a way to bring that blood pressure back up to normal by constricting the blood vessels with angiotensin. Here's the thing is that angiotensin causes another hormone, aldosterone, to be released. Aldosterone. Now make sure you get these two hormones straight because I know they sound the same. Aldosterone is another hormone that acts on the distal convoluted tubules of the nephron. And very similar to the ADH hormone, it tells the distal convoluted tubules to put more blood back into the bloodstream. More blood back into the bloodstream means higher blood volume. Higher blood volume means more blood pressure, and everything goes back to normal. So if your water balance goes out of whack, you've got multiple things going on at the exact same time. The ADH, the angiotensin, the aldosterone, all three of these hormones are working together to put more water back into the bloodstream, to bring the blood volume back up, and to bring the blood pressure back up. Now, your kidneys also play a huge role in maintaining a proper pH, okay? Now, pH, again, if you remember, this is like 10th grade stuff. pH is basically based on the amount of hydrogen ions. The more hydrogen ions you have, the more acidic it is. A pH of 0 to 7 is acidic. Anything greater than 7 is basic. Please know this before you go to college. You should know this stuff. Okay. Now, blood. I would know this, guys. Blood has a pH of 7.35 to 7.45. Look at that small itty-bitty range. And we're talking about a 1/10 of a pH range blood sits in. And it should never, ever, ever be less than 7.3 or greater than 7.4. If it is, then you go into two conditions called alkalosis, which is it's greater than 7.45, or acidosis, where it's less than 7.35. Our body maintains this very narrow range, okay? And the kidneys play a huge role in maintaining that narrow range. Now, where does all that hydrogen come from? That hydrogen comes from multiple places. The food that we eat contributes hydrogen. The lactic acid that our muscle produces. The carbonic acid that is formed when CO2 and water mix. And so if you're not breathing off enough CO2. If the respiratory system's not working very well, a lot of times carbonic acid is formed. Okay? And what your kidneys do is your kidneys are constantly monitoring what is the pH of your blood. We've got too much hydrogen ions, and so your kidneys will put those extra hydrogen ions into the blood, into the urine, so that you eliminate it. Or if there's not enough hydrogen ions in the bloodstream, it'll put them back into the bloodstream. So your kidneys are constantly monitoring the pH and maintaining the exact amount of hydrogen ions in your bloodstream, and it by eliminating the extra through the urine. Okay. All right, you guys, that sums up all the other functions of the kidneys. We talked about water balance and how your kidneys maintain the exact balance of water, how your kidneys play a role in maintaining the blood pressure, and then also we briefly talked about how your kidneys maintain a proper pH. Have a great afternoon.